English. He's written a series of articles, and he hasn't chosen his old alma mater, the Daily Telegraph. He's actually gone to the Sunday Express today, who have been his biggest proponent for years, basically. So he's written this article. Let me just read a little bit about it, and then I'm going to ask you whether or not you think he should be given another chance, or more specifically, are you going to miss him, really? Because we all know why he's no longer going to be Prime Minister, because he just misbehaved in office. But in terms of being a leader, are we going to miss him, and is the Tory party going to miss him? So this is the things he says. He says, the task before me was very clear: to break the logjam and get Brexit done. So we did. I won the biggest Conservative majority for a generation, and within weeks I extracted our country from the clutches of the European Union. We took back control of our money, we took back control of our borders, we installed a points-based system for immigration, we took back control of our laws, we took back the sovereign right of the British people to determine their own future in Parliament. The Romaniacs and the Ramonas and the Rejoiners didn't like it then, and they don't like it now. You don't have to look hard to spot them. Some quietly plotting in dark corners of Westminster. Others spewing hashtags, says Mr. Johnson, across social media as they sneer at readers of the Sunday Express. Do they mean us? They surely do. And many millions of Brits with whom they disagree. Still more camped outside Downing Street, bellowing through megaphones, Brexit, at bemused tourists and long-suffering police officers. But the British people put their faith in me to get the job done, animatingly goes on. So, do you think actually he's going to be missed? And I'd like to start a debate about his legacy already, about what we will miss, what we won't miss, and is he in some way slightly delusional about all this? Does he really want to carry on? I was hearing someone the other day, an unspoken Tory minister, saying he was hoping that Liz Truss would win because she'd be so bad and he could take over again. Let's speak to Adam Bolton, political commentator and former editor-at-large at Sky News. Thank you for joining us, Adam. Is he delusional? Could he come back?
I think he's a little bit delusional. It's very Trumpian, all this. And as we know, Donald Trump still threatens possibly to come back in America. The technical point, of course, is that Boris Johnson did actually resign as leader of the Conservative Party. Therefore, he is not eligible to stand under Conservative Party rules in the next leadership contest, so he can't get back that way. But I think it's pretty clear that a range of Tory commentators and newspapers, perhaps including the Express, certainly the Mail Group, and some people at the Telegraph, are trying to say that somehow it was very unjust that Boris Johnson was got rid of, and that the party members should have a say. Now, when you hear Boris Johnson talking about people conspiring in dark corners in Westminster, one might actually say it's the supporters of Boris Johnson, because the people who sacked Boris Johnson were actually democratically elected as MPs at the last election. The people who are now going to choose the party leader are simply people who paid money as members to the Conservative Party, so they're not the ones who necessarily have a mandate. But it's true, I think, that some of them do feel sore about the departure of Boris Johnson and might like to bring him back, but it wouldn't be very democratic.
He paints a very rosy picture. Do you think the country is better now than when he arrived?
No, and that's not the question he asks himself, of course. What he says is, I've done this, I've done that, I got Brexit done. Well, did he get Brexit done? I think people at Folkestone and Dover queuing up might think that perhaps there's still some work to be done in terms of our relationship with the European Union, and that's before you get into the situation in Northern Ireland. He doesn't say I brought crime down. He says I've recruited more police, but he hasn't hit his target yet on that. And I think if you ask the Ronald Reagan question, are you better off now than you were 3.5 years ago when Boris Johnson became Prime Minister? In the midst of the credit crisis, I think there are very few people who would answer yes to that.
What else does he say? We've invested in our children's future, giving schools their biggest financial boost for a decade. We've invested in our precious National Health Service with record-breaking increase in funding and around 30,000 extra nurses recruited. Is that accurate?
I think it can be disputed. I mean, the problem is the nurses may have been recruited, but also a lot of nurses have left. So overall levels of nurses have not gone up. And then, of course, the problem is whatever he's done with the NHS, we've now got record waiting lists, and we've got people dying because they can't get cancer operations, they can't get heart operations, they can't get to see their GP. So if I was trying to say, look, I've done a great job, I don't think, in spite of the successes during the COVID crisis, I would necessarily point at that.
He says there are some who speculate that today I am more popular in Kyiv than I am in Kensington. That's true, isn't it?
It is true. I think they're naming a seat after him in Kiev. And it's certainly the case that the United Kingdom, with also the leadership of people like Ben Wallace, the Defence Secretary, has been the most staunch in supporting the Ukrainians in the European Union, although more than the European Union, and perhaps on a par with the United States. We are supplying them with quite a lot of weaponry. The problem is how we're going to pay for it in the long run. And also, of course, there's the continuing problems with people trying to look after refugees coming out of Ukraine who run into a lot of red tape. So, yeah, he's been praised by President Zelensky. One can't take that away from him. I just slightly wonder if, given Britain's attitude to the world, if, you know, Tony Blair, who went to war alongside the Americans, or Gordon Brown, or Theresa May would have been that different from Boris Johnson. I'm not quite sure for this claim that only he could have done this.
Yeah, and finally, Adam, I mean, you've been covering politics for a long time. Each Prime Minister is remembered normally for one particular thing. It might be Mrs Thatcher and the Falklands War, it might be David Cameron and the Brexit referendum, and Tony Blair and the war in Iraq. What do you think people will remember Boris Johnson mainly for?
I think the big event of his premiership is COVID, and not only the way that was handled, with some major successes, obviously with the vaccine programme, some major failures with care homes at the beginning, and then of course Boris's demise is inextricably linked to his own misbehaviour against his own rules during the COVID period. So I think he'll be remembered as the COVID Prime Minister, but I think it won't necessarily be all entirely positive.
And do you think he'll go to the backbenches? Has he got an eye on the cabinet? What do you think he'll do?
I wonder. I don't think in the end that he's like Donald Trump. I'm not sure he's going to fight this one all the way and really try and make a comeback. I think some of his allies would like him to do that. I don't think that's actually Boris Johnson. I think he likes money, and I think he will try and make money, and he will make money as an international personality.
Thank you very much for talking to us. That's Adam Bolton, of course, political commentator and former editor-at-large at Sky News. So I guess the question, I mean, we could say, oh, do you think Boris should have another shot? Do you think that Boris Johnson is deluded? I think the question is really more one about his legacy and about, he's obviously, I mean, he's going to write articles. He's painted a picture of his Prime Minister's years in charge, the 3 years in charge, as rosy and full of successes. Do you agree? How good a Prime Minister do you think Boris Johnson has been? It's very easy to say, oh well, Partygate just diminishes everything positive that he's achieved, but there are things that have happened during his premiership, and it has been in the most extraordinary of times, hasn't it? Who could possibly have said that the pandemic would have happened in such a dramatic fashion, and how it would actually change the way that all of us view life, I suppose, in many ways. I think there's still part of me that's just a tiny bit agoraphobic after lockdown. I still haven't quite got back into that, you know, bon vivant type lifestyle where you're out in the pub and you're seeing people. I don't know, maybe it's getting old, I don't really know. Let's have a quick word with Sean. What we normally do, Sean's in County Durham, we do a little sort of synopsis or précis of what they're going to say. And it says, Sean, it says here, Sean from County Durham, Boris, I hate him. Do you?
I cannot stand him, mate.
Why?
He should never have been in the job in the first place. He's a half-wit.
Why? No, he's not half-wit.
He is a half-wit.
Oh.
He's got the NHS in disarray. He's got the Brexit in disarray. He's got everything. The man was not to be trusted anyway.
He got an 80-seat majority in Parliament, Sean.
He was a born liar, mate, and always will be.
He managed to get Brexit through. You may not say
he didn't. No, he didn't. He's made it worse.
He's made it worse.
He's made it worse, mate. Northern Ireland will never forgive him.
Okay, tell me about the, let's talk about one of the things that he'll claim is a great success of his, the vaccination programme.
Yes, which was down to the NHS.
The war in Ukraine and his support.
Why doesn't he just go and emigrate there? I cannot stand the bloke. Why doesn't he, if he thinks more about Ukraine, why doesn't he just bugger off there?
Did he do anything positive for you, Sean?
Nothing, mate.
Okay.
No Tories do, mate. I cannot stand a lot of them.
All right, listen, we're starting with a very, very low bar. I think it's fair to say. So thank you very much, Sean. Seriously though, is there I want to know some of the positives that you think Boris Johnson does. Maybe like Sean, you do hate him and there's nothing positive about him. I always think if you're just so black and white, it's not very helpful. You've got to be able to change gear a little bit. So we're talking about Boris Johnson, who may or may not still harbour intentions of coming back. I don't think he does. I think Adam's absolutely right. He is quite obsessed with money, so I gather. He's always moaning about the fact that he hasn't got any, and he misses his £250,000 a year that he used to get for writing articles in the Telegraph. So I'm sure he'll go back to doing that, and then he'll be very, very much in demand around the world, won't he? He's so recognisable. People will want him. 0345, yes, you know what I'm going to say, 0345 6060 973, to talk about the legacy of Boris Johnson. Is there anyone out there who thinks, as some at Parliament and ex-Parliament think, that Boris Johnson is an electoral bonus and will actually give the Tories their best chance of winning at the next general election? He did deliver a massive Conservative majority, didn't he, in 2019? Do you think that anyone else can deliver that? Rishi Sunak says he's the only one who can. Liz Truss says she's the only one who can. Do you think Boris is an electoral liability not being part of the party again? Give us a call now and you'll get through. 0345 6060 973. Already? A lot of people agreeing with you. Sean from Consett is a god, says George. It's 16 past 4.
This is LBC.
Fever-Tree Mediterranean tonic water. Made with zesty lemon thyme from a small family farm in Provence and essential oils from herbs that grow in the Mediterranean sunshine. So, if 3/4 of your G&T is a Fever-Tree tonic, maybe it's time to call it a T&G. Fever-Tree. Mix with the best. Ooh, that takes me straight to the med.
We constantly bombarded by messages from all angles, near and far. Switching attention between smartphones and a billion distractions, it can be difficult to stay focused. Zeiss Smart Life lenses are designed to help your eyes better manage a world vying for attention from every angle, improving your field of vision so you can seamlessly shift your point of focus. In a digital world, isn't it time you saw the bigger picture? Zeiss Smart Life lenses, available at Boots Opticians.
If you want affordable security, you need the Simply Safe family.
We're a tight-knit network of super smart sensors.
Here to keep your home safe. I look after your entryways.
Systems start from under £200.
You can set us up yourself.
Doors, windows.
And from just $15.99 a month, you can get professional monitoring from a security expert like me.
Oh, cat flaps too.
Head to simplysafe.co.uk to see our latest offers and let our family look out for yours. T's and C's apply.
Today's tale begins when Sarah was scrolling through her feed. Suddenly, Sarah heard the scariest sound.
The Wi-Fi is down.
Sarah was trapped by the spinning wheel of doom.
Save yourself from broadband nightmares. Get BT's unbreakable hybrid broadband backed up by EE, the UK's best network. Search BT Hybrid Broadband. 88% UK availability. 4G connection takes up to 175 seconds. Best for mobile network performance. Verify at ee.co.uk/claims.
Ian Payne on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Whether or not he fancies a comeback, Boris Johnson has written a glowing piece about himself and his successes in the Sunday Express today. He's written in the article saying that he got Brexit done, he took back control of our money, took back control of our borders, introduced a points-based immigration system, and got back control of our laws. He says he's financed our schools, the NHS and the police, got 30,000 extra nurses, and wind farms have sprouted, his words not mine, like giant aquatic daffodils. And so has high-speed Wi-Fi, and he's also Ukraine's biggest ally. So why is he leaving? Is there anyone out there who thinks that getting rid of Boris Johnson is still the biggest mistake the Tories could make? And if not, why not? 03456060973. Ellie's in Dagenham says, I've got 3 positives, I think. Oh, right, I must read this text. 1, he has a good taste in wallpaper, and he takes Dylan the dog for walks, and he didn't blub on leaving office, says Ellie. There's surely more than that, isn't there? Has anyone got anything positive to say about Boris Johnson? Can't all be naysayers, can you? Bodge is in his own little world, says Glenn. Hi Ian, I definitely think Boris will be missed, says Chris. Without him at the helm, I think it'll be a shoo-in for Labour at the next general election. Thanks from Chris in Whitstable, where they have those lovely oysters, don't they? Sharon is in Devizes. Hello, Sharon.
Hello, Ian.
Think he should stay on?
I'm going to disappoint you.
Oh.
I think, well, possibly he should stay on, because the day that this government and the Conservative Party are slung out of office cannot come too soon. But if you're asking about his legacy, this is, to my mind, is the worst Prime Minister we have ever had, probably in history. He's set new lows in dishonesty, and in law-breaking. The man is an integrity-free zone. He's somebody whose intelligence has always been massively overestimated. Because he's had some sort of I admit the man has some sort of charisma, although it falls on absolutely deaf ears with me.
Have you always felt like that? When he was stuck on that zip wire, did you think, what a character, or not?
No, absolutely not.
Oh.
Absolutely not. I think he's odious. I think his views are odious. Absolutely.
How's a man who delivered an 80-seat majority to the Conservatives fallen from grace in 3 years so quickly?
Because he did everything wrong. He thought he could lie, cheat, avoid going to Cobra meetings at the start of the COVID pandemic, go on holiday when he should be available. He doesn't know what a day's hard work looks like. All he knows about is saying things. All these nurses and new hospitals and new schools and the utopian numbers game that he plays when he talks about what he's done. Absolutely none of it is reality. You know, we all know this. The only thing he can do is say things.
He says we had to take some of the. He said we've had to take some of the bleakest decisions since the war because of the pandemic, and time again we got the big calls right.
No, I hate that phrase. Time and time again, he got the big calls wrong, and there are tens of thousands of people who wouldn't be in their graves now if he'd acted earlier and more responsibly in the pandemic.
My goodness. All right, Sharon, thank you. I guess I'm casting my fishing rod and seeing if I can hook a Boris supporter.